Apparently, the city council is organising another collection for repairs to the fortifications.
Are they out of their bloody minds? They have two collections just like it already, and there are still holes in the walls.
That's true. But what for the fortifications you can't see?
I didn't say I wouldn't contribute.
Have a
So I'm
lovely
not
summer
giving a single
evening.
groschen.
A very good evening to you, Catherine.
Thanks. Have fun.
Scaffolding.
I want to ask about a few more things.
But of course, ask away.
I know all there is to know. I'm going...
To your health, my friend!
But what do you want to do about it? What the fuck do we have a king?
My respects.
Where are our lords? What are you doing, Whistler? Good day to you. Good day, good day. Watch out!
Easy, good horse.
Inexpensive, but high quality. Hi, Jane, for some fine wares. Come and take your pick.
Iron and steel!
Are you blind? You almost ran into me.
Ow! Waterman! Don't ride among people! Ow! Waterman! Don't ride among people!
Easy, good horse.
The Lord Almighty grant us a peaceful... I'm sorry. Good evening, my friend. What do you need?
You must be the local grave.
They call me František. At least them that can speak do. Ha!
I'm Henry.
Greetings, Henry. What do you need?
I hear there was a murder here recently. Some young girl?
True. True. She's lying in the morgue. But who the hell are you? Another Gawker?
Another? Why would anybody come to look at her?
People ain't got no respect. As soon as news spread about what was done to her, folk are always turning up to have a gawk. So if you ain't one of them Gawkers, you must be one of them other types. Well, no, you can't shave her. No. No thumb for a souvenir.
I don't want to take anything. I need to find something out.
Like what exactly?
Who killed her?
Why?
I'm in service of the Lords of Lipa. I'm to find out who was responsible for this murder.
What do the Lords of Lipa care about a dead girl?
Truth be told, not much. But it's at the request of her master.
Ah, that makes more sense. At least someone is trying to sort this out. The others weren't so lucky. It's true that Lumiere ain't shown no interest in her yet. I wouldn't expect that from him no more.
Who's this Lumiere? Another one of those gawkers and collectors?
No, no. He actually tried to help.
Help? How?
Well, he was investigating them others.
Right. You said she wasn't the first.
Aye. We had a couple of similar cases. Lumiere said they was all killed by the same murderer.
And who is this Lumiere?
He used to work for the local bailiff. I think he knew the first one what was killed, but that was a long time ago.
Do you remember how many girls were killed?
You mean you don't know nothing about it? Here, even the sparrows are squawking about it.
I haven't been in Kuttenberg very long.
I see. There's been one every few weeks for the past year.
Do you know where the last one got killed?
I heard some talk about it when they brought her here. But what do you want to do there?
Look for clues. Footprints, blood, anything.
That can help you.
That's worth a try.
I heard she was killed by the town walls, close to the Hole in the Wall, a dodgy tavern in the Hoprink neighborhood.
Thanks. What's this Lumiere got to do with this?
Well, like I told you, he used to work for the bailiff. I think he was a scribe.
A scribe keeps records in the Black Chronicle. Though I've never heard of one doing his own investigations.
Well, the old bailiff wasn't all that interested in the common folk. But Lumiere, he was quite helpful. Folk heard about it and went to him with whatever was troubling them.
I'd like to speak with Lumiere. Do you know where I can find him?
At his home in Bohemia Street, that's near the church. You won't find him at the bailiff's no more. I don't know exactly why, though. Seems he had some quarrel with the bailiff.
Thanks. You've been a big help.
It's my pleasure, especially helping someone from the land of the living again. Actually, wait a mo. Speaking of the living, there's a girl what comes here and grieves over that dead maid. I think her name is Barbara.
And do you know where I could find her?
She said she serves in one of the burgers' houses. So either there or in the morgue with that poor dead girl.
Thanks again, Master Gravedigger.
Take care, sir.
So, let's see what we have here. My God! Someone really... Oh, they ripped open her entire belly. And they didn't stop there. There must have been buckets of blood. Jesus Christ. There's hardly any blood left in her. The place I found her must look like a slaughterhouse. I should go there and take a look. Her lips are bloody, but nothing more. Tongue still in place. But if he killed her for blabbing, I reckon he'd have cut out her tongue or something, wouldn't he? These are more like chops than cuts. Somebody must have taken a sword to her. Knife wounds would be smaller, and an axe would have made a bigger mess. But it couldn't have been a long sword. That would have been clumsy. It was something shorter and nimbler. God, that madman cut off both her breasts and bits of flesh. But what did he do with it all afterwards? Did he really keep all the pieces? Nobody could be that sick, could they? Her face is a little bruised and cut, but nobody cut her there. But she has a dark ring around her neck. Was she strangled? The murderer must have had pretty strong hands, and her hair is all matted with blood and hacked off. I don't even know what colour it was. Maybe there's something more to it. What if the murderer kept her hair like some kind of sick trophy? Just some scratches and bruises, that's all. The killer probably surprised her. She didn't even have time to defend herself. So, the murderer must have awfully strong hands there. She's missing parts of her torso, but they aren't by the body. He also cut off most of her hair. He cut off her breasts, but left her tongue, then left her lying there for all to see. To send a message, maybe? Or a warning? Only if it was a warning for telltales, he would have cut out her tongue or something, wouldn't he? I don't know why he killed her, but I don't think it's because of Catherine.
This horse must have cost a pretty groschen.
Why'd you ask? Who are you?
I'm trying to find out who did this to her. I'm afraid the killer might want to go after my friend as well.
Ah, I understand.
Who did you serve?
Our master is a local merchant. He is trying his hand at trading wine.
How did Alice get along with your master?
Fine. Just like with everyone. Our master is a bit strict, but he's fair.
What's his name? Can I speak to him?
Why? But you can't see him anyway. He's on a trade trip to Prague.
It occurred to me that maybe he could have done it.
He couldn't. He was gone when it happened. He hadn't been home in several weeks. And besides, why would he kill them others too? He never even knew them.
I heard about that. And also about Lumir.
Well, if you're interested, go and see him. Maybe you'll catch him sober enough to talk sense.
Do you know of any suitors she might have had?
I know she was seeing someone. Why?
I'd like to talk to him as well.
But I don't know who it was. Alice said he was rich and dressed nicely. But she promised him she'd never tell anyone his name.
And you never saw him?
No, never. I don't even know where she met with him.
Do you know what exactly happened to Alice?
No. Nobody saw or heard nothing. One day, she just didn't come home. And then, they found her. Like this.
It's awful what they did to her.
She was such a pretty girl. And that beautiful brown hair of hers. And it didn't even leave that untouched. Who could have cut off her hair like that? And why? None of it makes sense.
So, I'll leave you to mourn in peace now. Oh, Lumir?
Oh. Christ, my head. Not so loud.
I need to ask you something.
I said not so loud. I have a splitting headache.
That's some hangover. He's useless to me like this. Unless I'm willing to wait for him to sleep it off, I'll have to get him some kind of cure or potion. This should sober him up. Here. Drink up. Better?
What? What are you doing here? Who are you?
My name is Henry.
And what do you want from me?
I'm trying to find out who killed a certain girl. And I was sent to you.
To me? What for?
Are you Lumiere from the Rat House? The scribe?
I used to be. Now I'm just Lumiere the Madman.
Well, you don't look crazy.
Yeah. But I am. I see things in my head that aren't real. And then I point my finger at the wrong people. I'm the biggest madman in Kuttenberg.
But I need your help.
If I were you, lad, I'd leave it be. You can't help that girl anymore, anyway. You'll just end up hurting yourself.
Come now, Lumiere.
Poor girls. Nobody was all that interested in it, except for me. We let it be in the end. We let a monster walk among us. No way. You can't solve this yourself.
I'm not doing it for myself. I'm afraid he might kill one of my friends.
A friend, eh? That's not good. Not good at all. I searched high and low. And what did I get out of it? Just mockery. What makes you think you can find out more than I did?
Because I'm stubborn, and I don't have any other choice. I'll get to the truth no matter what.
You think that will suffice?
If not, I'd have been dead long ago. Bled out from a human arrow.
All right. Talk to me. Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She worked as a maid.
A maid? That fits. Yarka was a maid too. As were most of the other victims. What did she look like? What did he do to her?
I think that he strangled her first, and then went at her with a longer blade and disemboweled her.
Did you notice the strangulation right away? It took me a while. Maybe you really will track him down.
Do you think it's the same murder?
Counting your girl, that makes 6 victims who were first strangled and then mutilated. If it's not all the same person, they must be collaborating somehow.
This is the 6th one. How long has he been killing?
Probably about a year now. Sometimes it takes him months, sometimes weeks. But I'm including missing girls, Stanya and Zdena.
Did the dead girls have anything in common?
Aside from being pretty young girls with no proper family or background, no. I couldn't find much.
Do you think somebody is killing them because they're poor and nobody will miss them?
Certainly. If somebody killed the daughter of a local lord, no stone would be left unturned.
But why does he even kill in the first place?
I don't know. Maybe he hates women. Damn it. I feel like I'm going in circles and can't get out.
What can you tell me about Yarka?
She wasn't the first. But thanks to her, people started taking an interest. She was a maid in a German family. By all accounts, she was a pious, polite girl. She was orphaned as a child. The priest from the Church of St. Peter and Paul, Father Prokop, raised her. They found her body tossed behind a barn at the edge of town. She was cut all the way from her neck downwards. An awful sight to behold.
Did you have any suspects?
At first, I thought the son from that family did it. The murderer is usually someone close, you know. But then I changed my mind.
Why?
Well, for one, I remembered the 2 girls before her, who ended up almost the same. Besides that, when I talked to the lad, he seemed he wasn't the least bit interested in Yarka. Then his mother told me that they threw her out a week before the murder because she was a harlot who stayed out till all hours of the night. That really surprised me, because Father Prokop had vouched for her good reputation. But who knows? Maybe he just didn't want to admit what had become of her.
What about Stanya?
She was an alehouse wench in a tavern of ill repute called the Hole in the Wall.
You said her body was never found. Maybe she just got out of town.
You have no idea how much I'd like to believe that. Only there was a lot of blood. Unfortunately, the investigation wasn't very successful. The Hole is a world of its own, and the people there aren't very forthcoming with information.
Did you suspect anybody?
You could suspect every second man there. Those people have nothing but thievery and deceit in their eyes. The innkeeper, Mole, definitely knew Stanya, since she worked for him. But he isn't all that chatty either.
So if I want to learn anything more, I have to ask this mole in the hole?
Yeah, he still runs the place.
And what about that Zdena? You said her body was never found.
Exactly. But to tell the truth, nobody spent much time looking for it. Besides Alice, Zdena was the most recent victim. It's only been a few weeks since she went missing, but I suppose nobody wanted to do any more digging.
But if her body was never found, how do you know she was killed?
Because she was the same type as the other girls. Maybe the prettiest of them all. Young, beautiful. A real live one. Lively as the devil. She was a thief. A pickpocket. I never could pin it on her, though. She always found some way to get out of it.
Maybe she robbed the wrong people and had to get out of town.
Maybe. She had a partner in crime by the name of Strunad. Quite a number. He's always sitting in the hole, boozing. When I asked him about Zdena, he told me he'd rather rip his own tongue out than talk.
Do you think he'd be more forthcoming with me?
He might be. You're not known all over town like a catchpole. It's worth a try. Besides, it might still be fresh in his memory. That would be a great help.
And what about the other two victims?
It all started with them, though nobody did much about it at the time. The first one worked as a bathhouse maid. They called her Chestnut. She'd only been in town for a short while, and nobody really knew her. So I couldn't find out anything more. But the other one, Libushka, she was from Loretz. She was a maidservant, too. I also talked to her mother. She said she was really cheerful and outgoing. There were lots of suitors circling around her, but she refused them all. She knew she was pretty, and knew she could do better than some farmhand.
You mean she wanted someone higher up?
That's what it sounded like. But her mother never found out who she had her eye on.
Interesting. I'll try to see what else I can find out from the mother. Where can I find her?
In the graveyard, lad. The poor woman died of grief. It's sad to say, but we can't help those two dead girls now. And they can't help us with our investigation either. There's nobody else left who could tell us anything about them.
Why were you looking into it? Who were those dead girls to you?
I don't know what people told you about me, but for many long years I was a scribe for Kuttenberg's bailiff. Kuttenberg is a big city with a lot of people. Silver, silver, silver. Mining it, smelting it, stealing it. There's always something going on. The bailiff was always running from hell to Hades, from one rich man to another, settling their quarrels. Often trivial nonsense.
But there are more than just rich burghers and lords in the city.
Exactly. There are common folk, too. There's a lot more of them, and their troubles are usually more serious. So when one of them came to the bailiff's one time, and the bailiff was running around somewhere, I started to deal with it myself. I was pretty good at it, too.
Behind the bailiff's back?
Not really. Andreas supported my activities until recently.
What happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Sorry.
Did you have any suspects back then?
You can always find some suspect. I always dragged the most suspicious ones to the body in the morgue by force. And they threw up at the sight. Or fainted.
Couldn't it have just been an act?
Fainting? Vomiting? That's hard to act. I'd swear none of them did it.
Can you sum it all up for me?
We have 6 victims here. And I believe they were all murdered by the same killer. Unfortunately, we only know a little about the last 4. The most recent ones. By now, we won't learn anything about the first 2. Of the remaining 4, the first to be killed was the maidservant, Yarka. She was raised by Father Prokop from the Church of St. Peter and Paul. He should know the most about her. The next were Stanya and Zdena. Their bodies weren't found, but we assume they also became victims of the same murderer. They both hung around a tavern they called the Hole in the Wall. Stanya was an alehouse maid, and Zdena a pickpocket. And the last victim is Alice now, also a maid. What they all have in common is that they were young, beautiful, and brunette.
Good. I know everything I need to know.
When you learn something more, stop by and see me. You've aroused a bit of hope in me, lad. I hope you won't disappoint me.
That looks like a bloody expensive horse.
Easy, good horse. Slowly. Nice and slow.
Mein Gott, dieser Saustall.
Whoa, whoa.
Mach mir noch den Rücken krumm.
Greeting.
God grant you health.
Good day to you. What brings you here?
Father, I need to ask you a few questions.
I don't have time for theological discussions, my son.
That's not why I'm here. My name's Henry, and I wanted to ask about the murder that happened recently. Someone killed and gutted a young maidservant and left her body lying by the city walls. And I hear it's not the first time this has happened.
Another one murdered. May the Lord grant her eternal rest. Why is it you ask?
I fear for my sister. She's also a maid.
Yes. Fear for those close to you is commendable. What would you like to hear?
One of the other victims was a girl named Yarka. But I reckon you know that, don't you? What can you tell me about her?
About Yarka? She was an ordinary girl. She served the von Grahl family.
Where did you know Yarka from?
I knew her since she was a little girl. Knew her family.
And?
I was her uncle. When my brother and his wife died, I took care of her.
You raised her? A priest with a child?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm not the first of the clergy to have a child on the side. But at least everyone knew Yarka wasn't my own daughter.
No offense, but how did you know what to do? Without a wife, without a family? I would have been lost.
I was a bit, son. When she was smaller, it was fine, but when she grew up a bit, maybe I was too hard on her.
How does that even work? Did you have her with you at the presbytery?
When she was small, I could. But when she grew up, she had to go. It wouldn't look right.
Why do you think you were too hard on her?
Yarka was an orphan, with no family and no possessions. Her only chance of a good life was a good upbringing. And then, a husband. But the more I led her in that direction, the more she resisted me.
How did she rebel against you?
She wouldn't listen. She ran away. She ran around with all sorts. And how did it turn out? She died. And in sin. Such a disgrace.
Disgrace? What the devil are you talking about?
She was pregnant! Even if she had lived, what then? Nobody would want to marry her anymore.
You're well off, though. Couldn't you provide for her?
I couldn't. Even if she had been my very own. More so, since she was my brother's.
But how come?
The church's property always remains the church's. They keep a close eye on that.
Who do you think killed her?
William, that pig of Satan. He gambles in the tavern on All Saints' Day and leads the locals astray. Yarka always went there to listen to music. I'm sure he got her with child.
Why do you think it was William? Do you have any evidence?
Evidence? He's a skirt chaser, a tool of Satan. He messes with poor girls' heads.
And does anyone else come to mind? No other man spoke with her?
No, absolutely not.
Why don't you respect Lumiere?
That's my business. You needn't concern yourself about that. I won't tell you anything.
come on, this is a really important matter. You can trust me.
That's just what a person I shouldn't trust would say.
Come now, Father. I'm not just asking out of curiosity. This is about all the dead girls. Isn't it written in Scripture? Speak up for those who have no voice.
A layman quotes the Bible to me. Fine. Lumia accused me of her murder.
What?
Yes. He slandered me in public.
And how... What happened then?
It turned out he was deranged. How could he even think such a thing? He's finished in Kuttenberg.
I've heard enough, Father. I'll be going.
Son, I'll give you some good advice. Don't listen to Lumia. That man has gone completely mad. Till we meet again. I'm sorry.
Slowly. Nice and slow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Slowly. Nice and slow.
What are you doing creeping about in the dark, eh?
Whoa!
Greetings to you.
much. My humble respects.
Are you Sternad? The one that went with Zdenna?
Who the fuck are you?
Just an ordinary bloke who has some questions.
Well then, piss off. You won't get any answers here. All you're gonna get here is a kick in the teeth.
Why so rash? That kind of attitude will do you no favors. Let's make a deal. You tell me everything you know about Zdenna, and I'll make sure you're no worse for wear.
Ah. You're the lord what that whore robbed. Don't worry about it. She weren't nothing but a lying bitch.
So, if I understand correctly, we can make a deal?
For the right price, I'll tell you all I know.
Is this the right price?
You fucking bet it is. Ask away and I'll tell you everything.
Where can I find Zdenna?
Aye. That's what I like to fucking know too. Last time I saw her... Well, that'd be back when she managed to fleece you.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to find her.
I can well imagine. Well, she went to Ravstein Mill. It's quite a long ways away. She had some unfinished business with some bloke called Pine. Ain't nobody seen her since then.
Did she have any friends or lovers who'd know more? Did anybody come here to see her?
Who come to see that bitch? She was always off somewhere, seeing someone. Although, once...
Someone came to see her?
Well, aye. Some stuffed frock came here once. All old and decrepit. He said he had some job for her. That she should leave behind her sinful life and all that shit. But he left empty-handed. She told him to go to hell.
Do you know who that priest was?
Some fucking Prokop or Pravoslav or some such shit. But that reminds me, I saw her a couple of times with another bastard. That fucking bard, William.
What do you know about this priest?
Not much. Seems they knew each other from before. And he had some job for her somewhere. Serving as a maid or something. But she weren't stupid. She told him to fuck right off.
And did he go?
Aye, indeed. He didn't... Look like the kind of fella that'd knock some sense into a woman. I think he just told her if she changed her mind to come and see him. Or some shit like that.
And could she have changed her mind and gone to him? And that's why nobody's seen her?
No, no. She took off. I'm sure about that.
And could she have run away with this Bard, William?
With that lily-livered fop? Well, he ain't been seen in town for some time, but I think someone was out to get him. He still don't come here no more. He plucks that loot of his in the Miners' Tavern. The wee shit.
What can you tell me about Zdenna?
What do you want to hear? I try to keep her out of trouble, but there's just no helping some women.
So you were taking care of her?
Well, just in front of the others. Other than that, she did what she wanted. Always made her mind up and did things her own way.
So you weren't too fond of her?
Not really, no. But she did have a knack for making coin.
I've heard enough.
Good day to you. Farewell and good night.
What are you here for, friend?
Did Estanya work here?
Stanya? Maybe. It depends on who's asking.
My name's Henry.
Names don't interest me. The main thing is whether it's a good guest or a bad guest asking. What kind of guest are you, Henry?
Just a moment.
I'm a good guest.
Really? Let's see. Do you know how to recognize a good guest?
By the fact he spends a lot of coin?
Aye. I like talking to them kind of guests. A lot. So, what'll it be, my good man?
What if I simply paid you, and you tell me what I want to know?
Ask away.
I want to know if Stanya worked here.
She did. And she don't know more. What's it to you?
I heard she disappeared without a trace. So I'm trying to find out if anyone had anything to do with it.
It's possible. The chamber she was sleeping in here was totally ransacked. The door open. Everything emptied out. And Stanya was gone. All I found were bloody footprints.
Tell me something else.
First, you'll have another beer. Or is it time to pay?
What?
If you want to ask, you have to drink. Didn't you get that?
You're quite the extortionist.
I prefer to be called an enterprising man of trade. So, what'll it be?
I don't want to pay you any more. I think you could answer my questions directly and not always try to wheedle money out of me. That makes it look like you might have some motive for keeping me from finding out anything about that murder.
Nonsense. How could you think that? Come on. Ask me anything you want.
Did anybody see what actually happened when Stanya disappeared?
No, it was at night. Nobody saw or heard anything. The tavern... Tends to be empty at that hour. And you won't meet many people on the street, neither.
What was Stanya like? What can you tell me about her?
A bold woman. One has to be here. Everyone's ballsy here unless you nib it in the bud right away. She was hanging around a bard for a while. I don't know how close they were, but she also had another suitor.
Someone from the city?
No, a charcoal burner. I heard he was from somewhere in the, Verchlitz Valley. I think his name was Barton?
What do you know about that bard?
What about him? He's a minstrel, a skirt chaser. What more can I say? He called himself William. As far as I know, he plays in the Miners' Tavern in the evenings. But sometimes he shows up here, too.
You think he might have been the one who...
Now that you mention it, he cleared out of town for a while and only came back not long ago. It could be him, all right. I know he met with some odd people and talked about God knows what, like bloody spies. Besides, you know what minstrels are like. Lasses just flock to them. And like they say, opportunity makes the thief.
Or in this case, a murderer. Apart from those men, did anyone else know Stanya? I mean, more intimately.
Well, I got bad news for you. She had 2 close friends, but you won't get much out of either of them.
Why?
One was hit by a cart, even before Stanya disappeared, and she died. And the other one got married and moved away.
How did Stanya's room look?
The door was wide open. Most of her things were gone, but some remained. And there was blood all over the place.
Blood? Was there a lot?
Not so much, really. More like hand or footprints. But they were near everywhere. If someone done her in, they definitely didn't do it in that chamber.
Where can I find this Barton?
I already told you. In the Verchlitz Valley.
Could you be a bit more precise?
I don't know that bloke at all. All I know is he's a charcoal burner. So if I was you, I'd look somewhere around the charcoal kilns.
That's all I need to know.
It happens! Just watch where you're going next time.
How can I help you?
Where can I find my room?
The guest rooms are upstairs.
Easy, easy. Nice and slow. Whoa! Whoa!
Whoa!
What's that I hear?
Did you get lost in the dark?
You should come for a visit during the day. I'll find you. Don't you worry. You'll wake up the whole farmstead.
I don't think so.
You're always welcome
Come
here.
to your senses yet?
Now, fuck you. I'm telling you, Conrad's gonna win the tournament.
John?
It's William, right? I need to talk to you.
What is it? Do we know each other? Do I owe you money?
My name's Henry, and no, we don't know each other, and you don't owe me money. But we do have something in common. We have a lot of mutual friends.
What? What do you want of me? I don't have to talk to you.
You don't need to. I can go and chat with the guards instead. Tell them you're the one hurting those girls.
What? I don't have anything to do with any girls.
Really? You? A notorious skirt chaser? Do you think anyone will believe you?
I just got back to the city. I don't know what you're trying to pin on me, but whatever it is, I didn't do it.
But everyone remembers you. You better spit it out before someone points the finger at you.
Come on. All right, then. Ask away.
Did you know Alice?
I know a lot of Alice's. You have to be more specific.
The one they found dead somewhere below the town walls.
Oh, her. I didn't know her, but I heard about it.
I heard she used to go to dances.
Yeah, and? I'm not the only musician in the city. I really didn't know her.
They say she had a rich young suitor. Do you know anything about that?
Me? Do I look rich to you? I get paid in food.
But you could at least pass yourself off as wealthy.
Or I could claim to be the Virgin Mary, but I doubt anyone would believe me.
And did you ever meet Yarka? It was a long time ago, but I heard she used to hang around you a lot. And Father Prokop didn't like it.
Oh, that one. Aye, she was very keen on my company for a while, but then she stopped coming.
Because somebody killed her?
I know what happened was a tragedy, but it wasn't my fault. She stopped talking to me long before that. Honest.
And did you know she was pregnant?
What? Yarka was... That's horrible. Who would kill a pregnant woman?
That's what I'd like to find out. What about the unwilling father-to-be?
What? Mine? I never even got under her skirt. We just flirted a bit, and then she stopped coming by.
And can you tell me anything else about it?
I don't know anything. It was a long time ago. You said so yourself.
And I hear you knew Stanya.
Which one do you mean?
The alehouse wench from the hole. I heard you had something with her too.
Well, she batted her eyes at me a couple of times when I was still playing there. A nice girl, but I didn't know her much.
And the innkeeper Mole told me a different story. He said you were the one coming on to her.
Fine, we had a bit of fun together. But she was always the one who started it.
And aren't you just saying that because she left you?
Oh, come on! I could have any woman, if I wanted. The innkeeper must have got it mixed up. He's an old drunkard after all. If I was you, I wouldn't take him too seriously.